Hi, this is Christy with Guidepost to Wellness, and for those of you that are return visitors, you guys know that I like to do my videos outside, get a little bit of outside if I can, get a little bit of sunshine, enjoying this fall weather, which I hope all of you are too. And today what I wanted to talk about is about the clean 15 and the dirty dozen. And what prompted this is I was actually watching a fatty liver docuseries, and they were talking about pesticides and toxins, and it can be really, really overwhelming. And I realized that I hadn't touched on this topic for a while, and I wanted to do a quick video on it. As you guys know, I am big on eating whole foods and eating seasonally, and so I thought it would be a good time to talk about this. Now, one of the things that I do mention as well is that I want every person to buy the best food that you can afford. So that's where some of the controversy comes in, because if you look at the price of foods and you look at the price of organic versus not organic, then that can be cost prohibitive sometimes. So it can be really just important to buy the best foods that you can and use these two guides to help you, that if there is an option or a choice, or if it's something that you can talk to your local farmer about and understand more about the products and how they're grown, then that can help you be better informed and reduce the toxins. So an awesome resource, and I'm going to put a link down below, that I recommend everybody check out, is the Environmental Working Group. It's a nonprofit group. They have a ton of research that they do, and they talk about everything from cleaning products to foods, sunscreens, and what's really great is they even have an app. You can look up different foods and products, and you can get information about the toxins that might or might not be in it, and how safe it's rated. So that's where I went to get my list. And when they were going through the list, especially of the dirty dozen, they were looking at fruits and vegetables. They would wash them or peel them if it was something where you didn't eat the skin. And then they ranked them by taking a look at the percent of samples that had detectable levels of pesticides and toxins, the percent of samples that had 2 or more pesticides, average number of pesticides found on a sample, average amount in parts per million of all pesticides found, maximum number of pesticides found on a single sample, and the total number of pesticides found on a crop. So they took a look at all of that, and that's where they ranked the foods. So again, if you can, when you're looking at buying different foods, look at the list of Dirty Dozen and try to get the cleanest version of that as you can. I like to buy my strawberries locally, so I know that they do not spray anything on them. However, I also know that having the organic standard can be expensive, and not all farms will go through that process. But that doesn't mean that their products are not really high quality and pesticide free. So that's how, for example, I buy my strawberries, which happen to be the #1 most dirty of the Dirty Dozen, if you will. So I'm going to put a screenshot up of this, but just some things to think about. So strawberries, try to buy locally if possible, organic if you're going to get them frozen. Spinach and kale, I know for a fact that kale especially is very prone to bugs. I pick off worms off of our kale all the time, and it's really tedious. So I can see that commercially that there's a risk for them to be sprayed a lot. And most of these things I also wanted to mention are things that you can't really peel off a lot of the skin, except for maybe potatoes, which is listed as number 12. But a lot of these things we're going to eat whole, and they're very soft, and when you eat them, you could be ingesting the toxins. So we have strawberries, spinach, kale, nectarines, apples, grapes, peaches, cherries, pears, tomatoes, celery, and potatoes. So these are ones that if you have the option, if you have the ability to purchase them either locally and understand what is or isn't used on the crops, or organically, then that's going to be the best bet for you. Now, when it comes to the Clean 15, these are things that I never waste my time or money on buying organic, because most of these things are items that you're not going to be eating the outer skins of. And there's a few caveats to this. So when we look at the Clean 15, we have things like avocados, sweet corn, pineapple, onions, papaya, sweet peas that are frozen, eggplant, asparagus, cauliflower, cantaloupe, broccoli, mushrooms, cabbage, honeydew, and kiwi. So a lot of these things, again, you're not going to be eating the skins. Or the other factor for things like cauliflower and cabbage, broccoli, they're just very, very hardy, and they're not as prone to pests and bugs and disease. So that's why they're not sprayed as often. Now, there's a couple of items on here that people that are in the know may realize could be genetically modified, such as corn and papaya. Up to 75% of the papaya coming out of Hawaii are genetically modified. Now, the thing is, being genetically modified in and of itself is not necessarily the part that is concerning. It is how they are genetically modified. And for the most part, corn and papaya, and I think there was one other, might have been cantaloupe, I can't remember, there might have been one other on the list. There's small amounts of them that are genetically modified, but they're not modified with pesticides that are so concerning with things like soybeans, and with the types of corn that are actually grown to make corn oil and animal feed. Sweet corn is actually a very, very small percentage of the corn that's actually grown in the United States and grown to eat, so it is far less prone to being genetically modified. So again, the key thing here is knowledge is power to help you make better decisions, better life, better health, and just making the best decisions that you can. The key is we need to eat as many colors as we can, like I talked about in my superfoods video and in different videos that I've done. Eat as many different colors. We need the fruits, we need the vegetables. But again, the awareness is there that if you have a choice of buying something other than strawberries that could be laden with pesticides and getting a different type of fruit at a different type of year, or waiting until they're grown locally or freezing your own, then do so. But buy the best food that you can with the money that you have, because you're worth it. We're all worth it. So I hope you found this useful. Again, I'll put some screenshots of the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, and I really recommend checking out the Environmental Working Group website for a whole host of things. Take care and be well.